just a bubble recap for the QuasiDB service for the 16th of June. This is pending the post the Powell statement and the interest rate decision. This is S&P chart in the 4-hour. This is a volume node up at 4245. I don't know if we're going to come back and test it. Currently we're bearish because we're below the volume node, and this is the baseline indicator. I've got it at at the volume node, so we know just at a quick glance if it's red, then we know we're below the volume node. So this could be or should be USD positive, and we can see the result in the Dixie. If we come to Dixie chart now, if we go to the candles, I'll show you something interesting. We go to the daily. Right, this one, this. Well, let's zoom out first. So we had a pretty rough trend line here, which I just drew, just very, very random. But the candle of interest is this one. Now this looked to me like it was a big fake out, a trend line fake out, because it was, he's hit that 2 times, and the 3rd time, and the 4th time. So what happened? Price fell, and I think this might have been a ruse to get, to shake the weak hands out and to encourage some bearish bets. Now what this is a dragonfly doji, and it's actually quite bullish because you see the wick. There's enormous buying pressure on that particular wick, and note that we had the buy from the MACD here on the 27th of May there, and it's not looking like it's going to cross. It's diverging over time. I started with S&P because obviously there's the correlation of the USD, the dollar index, and S&P. S&P it can fall and the dollar will do well because there's the inverse correlation. This is the safe haven, and if the S&P falls, then this is going to perform well. But the thing that I did want to bring your attention to was that dragonfly doji and that fake out of that break. So it's very, very, very naughty. It's quite a move there as well. So the fact that it's technically quite good, it gives credit to the MyFXbook guys. They are long dollar, and then they got paid. So it happens. It's fine. It's not to worry. But it's just a good example why we want to be patient with the notifications. And ideally, what we want to do is wait for that dollar to come down here before we buy it. And even if it comes down, we be patient and we give it some time. It needs to settle down here in the strong buy section because it hasn't really settled down here for any period of time for, well, at least 6 months anyway. So normally what happens, the dollar comes down here and the retail guys are all into it, and then they buy the dollar. And by doing so, that it makes it bearish, and then the dollar bubble moves away and it comes over here again, and then it's a catch-22 situation. So the retail guys have to be conditioned not to buy it. We want them to sell it if we want to buy it. Okay, so I don't really need to talk too long. Just to recap, we've only got one signal. It's the Kiwi yen. Everything else has been invalidated by the ridiculous chop that we saw today. It's just a great example just to be patient. And I think when the dollar bubble comes down here, then I'll be a little bit more confident about the notifications. So currently the safe havens are a strong sell, but if we look at the S&P, it's like falling, but we've got quite a wick. So it's very, very tricky, isn't it, really? Could be by the dip situation, to be honest. We might be getting a crossover a little bit on the technical. So yeah, and also we have to bear in mind that pound USD, it's a buy. The Euro USD is now actually flipped over to sell, so that's interesting. And technically we're actually quite bearish. Let's have a look at dollar Swiss. See, we could be turning on the dollar Swiss, but we want this ratio to get closer to 50% over time. And Aussie, see, we're sell at the start of the week. We're more of a sell today. So and look at your momentum as well. So it's quite tricky. We'll see what happens. Currently, we've only got Kiwi yen, but I'm not going to look at that today. It's nearly 9 o'clock now, so I'll look at it tomorrow. Just a lot of chop. I can't really apologize for it because it's Fed, and so we're going to see a roller coaster. And what happens with the S&P? I mean, really, if we look at the daily, it's an absolute beast. You probably don't really want to fight that. And because it's in such a strong uptrend, it's going to hurt the dollar prospects, and the dollar could fall from its highs because this is so strong. And you've got to remember the inverse correlation as well. So could be seeing a turning point on some of these USD crosses, but the fact that S&P is so strong, it's going to hurt the dollar probability of like a resurgence. So it's a very tricky one. And remember to ask me for access to this tool. It's really handy. It's the Kiwi yen. So it's actually saying buy, but technically we're not that great. So I wouldn't touch this until we were above monthly pivot, and that's 129 pips away. So we won't have any signals currently. I wouldn't buy it unless it was above like the pivots, and we're technically quite bearish. So could be payday for those guys as well, to be honest. So yeah, it's very tricky. And I'll be back tomorrow morning with the update on the SLCs, and I'll try and make that video a little bit shorter and try and keep it maybe 5-8 minutes, and then we'll see how we go. And yeah, see what happens with the Dixie and the S&P. I mean, this is a monster, so don't try and fight it. And if it comes down, it's going to be a buy opportunity anyway. So I'll speak to you soon.